Imagine you're mid-swing over the city. The wind is rushing past you, and suddenly, your web shooters click empty. Now you're stuck on a rooftop, walking down the stairs like everyone else. It brings up an interesting problem. Whether it's a replacement web cartridge, the smartphone in your pocket, or the desk you're sitting at, where exactly do these things come from? They don't magically appear on a store shelf. Creating a single new web cartridge requires a massive, coordinated effort stretching across the globe. Economists break this massive effort down into 3 distinct steps, known as the stages of production. Tracking a product through these 3 stages provides a clear blueprint for how almost every business in the world operates. Let's look at the journey. Every physical product starts in the dirt. To make our web shooter, we first need to pull iron ore and other metals out of the ground. This initial phase of pulling resources directly from the natural world is called the primary sector. It's the extraction stage, where we gather the Earth's raw materials. This includes mining for metals, drilling for oil, harvesting timber and forestry, or pulling fish from the sea. Agriculture is a major part of this stage too. Raising cows on a dairy farm to harvest raw milk is a perfect real-world example of primary production. The primary sector acts as the foundation. Without these businesses gathering up the baseline materials, the rest of the economy would have nothing to work with. But a pile of iron ore on its own isn't very helpful for stopping bad guys. That raw metal needs to travel to a factory. This brings us to the secondary sector. This is the transformation stage, where businesses use those raw materials to manufacture or process finished goods. Any business that builds things belongs here, from construction crews raising houses and bakeries making bread, to factories assembling computers or cars. You can see this in action with factory workers sewing clothes. They take raw fabric and process it into a product you can actually wear. The secondary sector is where human labor and machinery add value. It turns raw dirt and ore into something complex and useful, like our web shooter cartridge. Now we have a shiny new web cartridge, but it's sitting inside a factory warehouse, miles away from the hero who needs it. We need a way to deliver it. This is where the tertiary sector takes over. These businesses don't extract resources or build physical products. Instead, they provide the essential layer of services. This includes the retail stores that sell the product, the banks that handle the money, and the transport systems that ship the package to your door. The service industry includes everything from a local barber to the world's most famous hotels providing hospitality and tourism. Without the tertiary sector, manufactured goods would just gather dust in storage. Service businesses are the bridge connecting finished products to the people who actually need them. When you step back and look at the whole picture, you can see how deeply these sectors depend on one another. The mine feeds the factory, and the factory supplies the delivery drone. This chart shows the exact 3-stage journey of an everyday item. The output of one stage becomes the input of the next. The primary sector woodcutter passes timber to the secondary sector furniture maker. Finally, the tertiary sector retailer sells it to a customer. A country's economy doesn't stay static either. Over time, the types of businesses a nation relies on will shift, a process economists call industrialization or deindustrialization. Developing economies often have a huge number of workers in the primary sector, like farming. As a country becomes wealthier and living standards rise, the tertiary sector grows to dominate the economy because people spend more of their income on services. Here is an exam tip. When you're analyzing how a tax hike or a change in interest rates affects a business, always start by stating which sector that business belongs to. A factory and a retail store will have very different reactions to the same economic change. Categorizing businesses into these 3 sectors turns a simple web fill into a lesson on global economics. It provides the exact lens needed to analyze the health of an entire country.